Wyclef Jean, BKS1 Radio. Let's go.
This is Essence Atkins, and this is BKS1 Radio.
Hi, this is Melba Moore, and you're listening to BKS1 Radio.
Yo, check it out. What's the deal? This the chef. Giving a big shout out to my peoples. Big KS, you already know what it is. Salute.
What's up? It's your girl Monifa, and I'm hanging with BKS1 Radio.
Hi, I'm Iyanla Van Zandt, and you're listening to BKS1 Radio.
BKS Radio, baby.
Hey, this is Jasmine Guy for BKS1 Radio.
What's going on? This is Lamont Rooker, and this is BKS1 Radio.
Shout out to BKS1, the best kept damn secret in the business.
Hey, what's up? This is Raven Goodwin from BET's Being Mary Jane, and shout out to BKS1.
Hi, this is Leon. You're watching BKS1 Radio.
BKS1. God bless y'all.
Hello, and welcome to BKS1 Radio, the Owwh Show. It is your girl, Latoya Chanel, and I am sitting here with Miss Queen. What?
You're by yourself.
Are you? No, I don't know why your thing ain't coming on. Yeah,
You hear me?
Okay,
Yes,
yep.
I can hear
2
you
and 3.
now. Yes,
Okay.
all right.
Yes, and I am sitting here with my best friend, Miss Queen B, over here to the right. I'm
We're
gonna
here.
clap her up because she got her work coat on.
First of all, I didn't bring a change of clothes today, so you got me.
She got the work
You got
coat
me on here.
on, and she looked real official, and she looked like
I wear this every day to work.
I need to be calling her Mrs. something instead of anything else.
I promise you.
The coat demands respect.
Does it?
Yes, it does. Because
Okay.
I'm under this table, y'all. I got Christmas leggings on, and
She
guess
does.
what? I don't even care.
She's not
Because
lying.
it's that time. It's that kind of day.
Okay.
So, she got on the work coat. But anyway,
I got on the work coat
clap it
because
up for the work coat. There you go.
I hate you. I really do.
All right, listen, y'all. It's that kind of Tuesday. So you know what? If y'all need to get in the chat, in the comments, and y'all want to, because we just going to be acting up today because it's that kind of Tuesday.
Yes, it is.
Just to get down to business.
And we ain't seen y'all in a long
Yeah, we
time.
haven't seen y'all in a while. We do have some things that are coming up. We do have some things that are on the horizon, and we just want you all to know that we have some more events that are going to be coming before the end of the year. We do have 2 more Owwh Show live events that are already planned out over the summer and over the fall. So it looks like we'll be doing these quarterly. We missed the spring, but we are going to be doing them in the summer and in the fall. We also are going to have another event curated by Miss Queen B that is going to be coming up soon, and we'll give you guys some more details on that. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4 live events that are going to be happening throughout the year. So as we have the invitations for those, and as we have the ticketing system set up for those, we're going to get that to you. So hopefully you guys are going to come out and enjoy the way you did in January, and show up and show out the way you did in January. Yes, it's going to be fun. It's going to have a good time. And we're going to be talking live how we normally do, and then we got some other events that are coming as well. In the meantime, as far as our guests for the year, you all know that we are going to have a number of people that are coming in. We have some doctors that are coming in, maybe some political figures. We got some things that we are working out on that front as well. So we have some pretty good shows coming in the spring. We have just been taking our time to try to get some things behind the scenes in order, because we got some other big projects that are coming out too, between the two of us, that we will be talking about in a couple of in the coming weeks, and things that we want to show you. But we are working, we are doing some things, and eventually you will see the fruits of our labor. In the meantime, for tonight's show, we just kind of winging it. but here is what I wanted to discuss.
Yes,
right?
I got a lot of hot topics.
Okay,
I think first of all, before you get into your stuff, so Roberta Flack, I just want to say she passed away. Was an asset to music,
of course,
right?
Yep.
And it's funny because, not funny, but I thought about so many artists. A lot of people, we know all of the artists now, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of times we don't know the artists that did the groundwork before all of these other people, got to be seen. And Roberta Flack is one of those people. She was really dope.
Yeah.
So I just want to give a shout out to her,
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
I want to give a shout out to her. We
Absolutely.
love her, and we just want to say sleep in peace to her.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Did we lose anybody else? I'm always shocked.
Yeah, there's a lot that is going on.
There's a lot that's going on.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and honestly, that's what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about the current climate.
Got it.
And how everyone is dealing. All of the changes that have happened over the last 30 days.
So those are the things we did not discuss.
Right. All of the things that have happened over the last 30 days, how it's affecting people, how
Yes.
it's affecting families, how it's affecting your psyche, or if it's not affecting you at all.
Right. Because, there's some that
there's a lot of people where
untouched.
Hey, listen, it's like,
Untouched.
listen, if this is not directly in my household or sleeping in the bed with me, then this is not.
It doesn't faze me.
Right. And you know what? If that is what it is,
That's
then
fine.
that's fine.
That's fine.
That is perfectly
But
fine.
we have
and that is
others.
Okay. But for others, I want to know, how everyone is dealing with things. I will say this. I've had a number of conversations over the last few weeks where folks are feeling depressed, disheartened. There are a number of folks that don't know how they feel, but know they are feeling something.
So Chanel, that's great to say, but there are some people that, beyond me, they are shocked.
What are you shocked about?
You voted for this.
Oh.
But I don't know if they thought that these things would happen.
Oh.
Because there are some shocked people.
Oh. Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm shocked that they're shocked.
Me too. Me too. So let me just say this. And I know you're going to delve into it individually, but collectively, right? So a lot of people were more focused on what he could do financially.
Trump.
Right.
Okay.
I really don't like saying his name though.
Okay.
So you see me say he.
He.
A lot of people were focused on what he could do financially, right? And they were not focused on all of the other things that he was going to do. They dismissed the things that he said he was going to do. He didn't, I don't know why there's a shock factor, but he said he would do these things.
Yes, he did.
And now they're sitting here like, what?
Right.
And then he kind of recanted on some of the things that he did promise. Because I guess he's noticing, it's too big for me. I really can't do much. Now, the exposing of, let me tell you one thing, the exposing of how ridiculously crazy we have been about paying for stuff.
What do you mean?
Sesame Street in Ukraine or wherever, $30 million. Okay. He exposed a lot of
government
funding spending that was not good, right? So those okay, good. Should the people know that? Yes, we pay taxes. We should know all those things.
Broke clock is right twice a day. Go ahead.
Right. So my whole thing is those particular things, but he said he was going to do a mass deportation. And he did. And he's not done.
No, he's not.
But why are you shocked? He said he was going to do that, and he said that was going to be his first business.
Yes, he did.
Now, all of the other things that he has done. Now, the problem that I'm having, honestly, is the DEI thing that he does. And everybody's looking at the DEI. I'm a little confused. Tell me about you.
Okay.
There's a lot of emphasis on getting rid of Black history, but I hear no talk about getting rid of anything else. About teaching Black history in schools.
Yes.
And if you do not abide by whatever, you will get defunded or whatever you want to call it, right?
Yes.
So I'm a little confused at why. So nobody wants to celebrate Black History Month. But now we're about to go into March. Is anybody not celebrating the
Women's History Month?
Okay, so we talk about that Women's History, St. Patrick's Day. Are we going to move to April? And you understand there's certain things that go on. Are we just getting rid of those too? Or is the emphasis just on Black history?
So here's my political analysis with the little bit of political whatever that I have,
knowledge
right?
that you have,
a little, because it's minimal, and someone can come on and correct me if you so decide to do so, right?
Okay.
To me, it appears that he won this election because of people's fear of African Americans gaining any kind of equity in this country.
Okay.
And LGBTQ people gaining any kind of inclusion
and normalcy
right, in this country. And so removing diversity, and well, somebody said it best online, let's not use the letters, let's say exactly what the letters represent. Removing diversity, equity, and inclusion from corporations means that you are stopping the even playing field for marginalized groups.
Yes.
However, the focus of those marginalized groups wasn't just women as a whole.
Absolutely.
It was for African Americans and it was for LGBTQ.
Okay.
And here we are.
Now I have to say something to you.
Here we are.
So, because I had this conversation, and I'd like to bring it. You tell me what you think. Most of the Republicans feel like when we accepted the LGBTQ plus group, we brought a lot into society and into
a lot like what?
A lot meaning he wants the world to be women and men.
It is now.
It is what? How?
There's officially, according to him, there's only two genders.
So what I'm saying to you is that now, sexuality, which, let me tell you something, and let me be.
Wait, before you tell us, go ahead with your point.
I don't know if I want to say my point before, because I want to say this first. I know. I want to rewind.
Okay.
I want to say this first, because when we were younger, and then we have this conversation all the time, our sexualities did not lead before anything, right?
No.
My sexuality does not lead before anything. When I do work, I'm at work.
You're a human being.
I am who I am,
You're
right?
a human being. Yes.
Some people decided that because you got to remember, there was no commercials on TV when we were growing up about sex. I remember when I was growing up,
there was not
HBO.
There was not mass
HBO cut off on a
exposure.
certain night, and they might show an elbow.
Yeah.
Now
It was implied.
It was implied.
Yeah.
So my thing is I get it. You don't want to sexualize children early, but then there comes the trans, and for people that it makes people uncomfortable.
Dave Chappelle said it in his comedy, but go ahead.
It makes people uncomfortable. So they're like, at 5 years old, you don't know you're gay, and you don't know you're trans, and you don't know you're this. And, me letting my son dress up, as a girl or do whatever, that shouldn't be. Right? There should not be any inclusion when it comes to the bathrooms, right? You feel like you're a woman, you're going in the bathroom. The only problem I have is sports. I have a hard time with that. I have a hard time with.
We gotta come back to sports. Go ahead, get your point out.
My point was.
We gonna go through 8 different avenues. Go ahead.
My point is that, so now the inclusion part of, so you're doing African American, and then you're doing the inclusion of LGBTQ, and you don't want that.
No, they don't want that.
You don't want any of that.
They don't want equity for African Americans, and they don't want inclusion for LGBTQ.
Now, does the focus does it talk about the people that, because DEI is not just inclusion for African Americans and LGBTQ, it's inclusion for all, and it is
all that are not
somebody
white
made
males.
a post saying somebody made a post saying it's the checker at Kroger or ShopRite or whatever who is disabled and can only work 4 hours and live off of.
If you are not a healthy white man, DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, is for
clear.
you.
Okay.
Yes.
That
is what it's for. However,
but why does it feel like
it's only for black people?
Why
and
does
gay
it
people?
feel like it's heightened because those are the focuses of his not wanting to include those two? Why is it the focus? Why does it seem like? Why does it feel like that?
Why does it feel like?
Absolutely.
So for the people that voted for him, that were voting against rights for LGBTQ individuals, and for the people that voted for him that were voting against the equity portion, they weren't thinking about equity for their Indian neighbor, and they weren't thinking about equity for the Iranian folks that came over here. They were strictly thinking about equity for African Americans.
Because I don't understand that it affects us, because let me tell you, I just want to see how all of this plays out. Because if you can't have Juneteenth, if we can't have,
why can't we?
What do you mean? Why can't we? Because they don't want anybody to celebrate it.
Yeah, but we celebrated it anyway.
Yeah, but how about this? In the government, and government official, there's a lot of jobs where he got rid of the DEI groups, so therefore they cannot. And if they are found out, they will be fired.
So if I'm at home and I have a cookout on June 19th.
At home you can.
Yeah, so
but you're
I'm
just not going to.
I can't. No, I may not
at work.
Be able
You
to
can't
do
bring
it
that to work.
I may not be able to do it in your federal office, but you can't tell me what I can do with my family at home.
Absolutely.
And the fact of the matter is that before the past 4 years, we were celebrating at home and not at work anyway.
But my point is to you, But when my point is to you, Juneteenth, this month, which is Black History Month. Then why are we not getting rid or putting off emphasis of March is what is March?
Women's History
St. Patrick. No, St. Patrick's Day.
Okay.
And then we have
Columbus Day.
Columbus Day, and then we have Christmas, which is Christianity. That is, everybody's not Christian, so is that not a form of inclusion too? We about to do Ramadan. You know what I mean? Ramadan's coming up in 4 days?
Do you get days off of work for that?
We celebrated, Ramadan. Eid was official days off for kids that were Muslim.
Is
and
it
Eid I don't know. That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. I think that is all in that. Yes, we did get days. I took a day off. My kids did not have to go to school
but definitely no Juneteenth.
All I know is no African American.
Definitely.
I keep saying no African American, no Black History Month, and no Juneteenth. I know that. What I'm saying is,
but the others,
why are we not making emphasis to get rid of those two?
Is Columbus a white man?
I don't know.
Is St. Patrick a white man? I'm just saying. Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, well then there you go.
Okay. It's not right though.
So look up Eid, because that's not a white man. So, you might want to check on that, because that's probably
I'm celebrating anyway.
Of course you are.
I am doing Ramadan for 30 days. I'm doing it anyway. My point is that, and if you give me the day off or you don't, I'm still taking the day off, right? I'm taking it. But my point is that you're making emphasis. Please you are not to put these posters up in, the government. You are not to do these things. You are not to have a celebration. You are not to have any no, it's serious. You are not to have any of these. And they got rid of the DEI groups. My point is that, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's federal, and we will not use our dollars to make you feel included or that you matter. We are not going to do that anymore.
Not good.
That is government wasting federal funds. So when it comes to my world in particular, again, everybody's like, oh, well, a lot of before now, having political conversations isn't something that usually directed people. I mean, wasn't something that usually affected people directly.
Okay.
Right? We could have political conversations in years past about what was going on in Iraq and Iran. Like, remember how that was such a big thing? But honestly, if you didn't know anything about it, and you lived, if you had the privilege to not know anything about it, and you lived over here, did it affect your day to day? No, it didn't. It really didn't, right?
It didn't.
Not from what we could see.
I'm gonna be honest with you,
but
right.
This right here, let me tell you how bad this is getting, and just different things that I've been worried about. So, for people who don't know, Trump took over the Kennedy Center last week. Week before last. Trump he fired the CEO and became the head of the Kennedy Center. For all who do not know what Kennedy Center is and have never heard of Kennedy Center honors, Kennedy Center is the lead performing arts center in the country. So when people get, the Kennedy Center awards and Nobel Peace Prizes and all those things, all of that stuff is done there. So they are the top performing arts center in the country. Yes, they have programming there and shows there and, all of the things like what I do for a living. Here's the problem. When he realized that the programming included LGBTQ programming, he decided that he was firing the CEO, becoming the head, and changing the programming because he did not want state and federal dollars to go to that.
Right.
I work at a performing arts center. And I work at a performing arts center where our very core is diversity, equity, inclusion.
Right.
All of our programming, maybe I shouldn't even be saying this publicly, but all of our programming is for everyone. We cater to everybody. What does that mean? And because it's a performing arts center and it's a state-run program,
such a scary
that means
thing.
there's funding. So what does that mean for my job? And for the other performing arts centers around the country, where, let me tell you what gets really, really scary. When you start policing someone's entertainment freedom.
Yes.
You can't listen to this kind of music.
Yes.
You can't watch this kind of show. You can't have this kind of programming. And even if it's specific people coming to see this kind of stuff, we have Jewish people, Hasidic Jews that come to specific kinds of programming at our performing arts center. But if you start to say that you can't have that kind of programming in your institution across the country, especially for ones that are not private owned and are using state or federal dollars, what does that mean for our freedoms? And then what does that mean for my job?
So that bothers me.
Well, if I'm out of a job,
that's the part that bothers me because I list who I am, right? Here I am. Woman, black, gay, Muslim.
You just all wrong.
I'm all wrong.
Yeah.
There's no right in me.
No, you just all wrong, sis.
You
like
understand?
you just
like I'm all that, and then like where's the inclusion for me?
There's no.
So what do I do?
You're not supposed to have any.
So what do I do?
There's nothing you can do.
There's nothing I can do.
There's leave the country.
My point is that, and then we're acting.
Because I got an escape plan. I just want y'all to know. I've already been talking to my escape plan people for where I'm going and how I'm going to get there. So I just want y'all to know. You may have to leave the country.
Guys, tell me in the group too, like how has this affected? Because I know a lot of people that have DEI jobs, right? Diverse, equity, inclusion jobs. Like people, like I remember people like, what do you do? And I work with the DEI.
Oh,
programs.
I'm the DEI
director. I'm the DEI.
Blah, blah,
Guys,
blah, blah, blah.
tell me in here.
You know what was crazy?
What?
How many conversations did we have just in our personal friend group?
Several.
Where it was like, oh, you know what? Maybe I should go and get a certificate.
I remember
diversity,
saying,
equity, and inclusion. Everybody was like, oh, yeah.
So my thing is,
But
guys,
now
like,
those 3 letters are.
Tell me in the group, everybody who's watching, hey, shout out to you. A lot of people are watching. But I wanted to say, hi guys. So I wanted to say, shout out to Maria, shout out to Katara who's watching, Tamika, hey Tamika, and shout out to Khadijah. How are you guys?
Hey, Dee.
And several other people. Kira, how are you? But I'd like to know how this. Kyra. Okay, sorry. Hey, Kyra. I wanted to know how this is affecting your job, how this is affecting some of the roles you play, and just how is this affecting you mentally. Please put it in the chat, because I know a lot of people that did gain a certificate, that did graduate with with this, that did decide to take on jobs that were DEI directors, like you said. I want to know how are we doing?
And I also I have to call, and please remind me to do that tomorrow. The ladies of Yoshida Academy who were on for the first half of last year. Who Yoshida Academy focuses on a number of different things, but they also went around to corporate environments discussing diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Karen, you're absolutely right. Escaping the country our ancestors built shouldn't even be a thought. I just had this conversation with my son and daughter this weekend. I literally said that I cannot believe that we built this country. I had to explain to them that the erasure of certain things when it comes to us, it'll never be erased in our minds. Nothing about it. Well, we built this country. We were on a boat. I said that I told my son yesterday, some people jumped off the boat. There was a saying where they said, I'd rather be dead and in my grave than to be a slave. And they jumped off the boat. But in the conditions that they put them into, the health conditions, the urinating on themselves, the defecating on themselves, to come over here, you barely fed them, you left them chained, and then to come over here to work, right? To change our names, to work and do all this stuff. And now you are telling me or just the ancestors, our ancestors, the lineage of our ancestors. You're telling us how to celebrate anything. You're telling us that we're not included in certain things when there would be no country if it wasn't for us.
No, it wouldn't.
It would not.
No, it wouldn't. No, it would not. No, it would not. No. You're 100% right.
So Tamika said, well, anyway, Kyra said we need to strap up, rise, and be ready. And Kyra, I wish everybody felt like that, because there is a lot of people who I'm not in the fight. I'm not this. I'm not that. Tamika says somewhere. I asked what we were doing. Her answer is somewhere between minding my business, literally and figuratively, shaking my head, but most hyper-focused on things within my control, within my sphere of influence and care. And Tamika, you're absolutely right when it comes to that. I do agree that most of us Black women said we're sitting this out because we felt...
If you can. Sitting it out from helping other people, yes. But as far as sitting it out and not feeling and not being affected by, unfortunately, is a choice that we do not have.
Absolutely.
We do not have the choice to sit it out and not be affected.
You're a woman. It is affecting you. You know.
Hey, and at this point, they are trying to pass what's the law that if you are a married woman, if the name on your driver's license does not match the name on your birth certificate, then you cannot vote.
Imagine.
So imagine they're trying to pass it.
Look, Betty said,
imagine.
Hi, Miss Robertson. I'm in education. He coming for us too, but I'm not leaving the country. My family blood in the soil every war. Yeah. The one immigrants in the White House will go before I do. Yeah, we are. I mean, it's a good way that you said it. You know, our blood is in the soil in this country.
I get it. I would go to.
So I agree with you when it said it's very disheartening to say the least. I don't know. I know that L Sharpton created a blackout, which is for February 28th.
That's Friday, right?
Friday.
So
and
what we supposed to do on Friday again?
Friday,
Not
we ain't
buy
supposed to
anything.
spend. We're not supposed to buy anything. Well, listen, is everybody going to follow suit? Absolutely not.
Wait,
you know?
what am I not supposed to buy on
Spend
Friday?
anything. Don't buy nothing.
Listen, most of the time on Fridays I work from home and I don't go nowhere
Anyway, so that's a good thing.
That's a great thing, right?
Don't buy on Amazon. Don't buy on Shein. Don't buy on Fashion Nova. Because don't buy on. I mean, the list goes on. Don't buy nothing. You know, let it. You know, buy everything that you gonna buy.
I gotta tell my mother.
Yeah,
you know
she be scrolling through.
She be.
I gotta tell my whole family we need to shut down everything.
Okay, so don't buy nothing
But
on Friday.
I think I feel the world. I feel everybody's anxiety. I feel the depression of people. I feel the helplessness. A lot of times, the helplessness of people. Tamika said it definitely right when she said that, you know, you gotta do what's in your control. You gotta hyper focus on those things that are in your control. There are certain things, and that is the part that is disheartening. It's like there are certain things that are out of our control, unfortunately, and there is nothing we can do about that. But focus on those things. That you do have control over. Yeah. And like you said, celebrating Black History take them to the museum. Take them, you know, the Black History Museum. Give them lessons at school. I mean at home. My kids, not 1 ounce of Black history. Not 1 ounce in the school system that they go to. Not 1 ounce. But they get it at home. I make sure that I'm always teaching them and telling them, and I'm not focusing on the people they already know. Yes, we got enough of, and I'm not downplaying anybody. Yes, we know Maya. Yes, we know Malcolm X. Yes, we know Martin Luther King. But there are so many more that we do not teach our kids about. I had to tell my kids the other day we were kings and queens.
Not everybody.
Most of us.
Not all of us.
Most of us.
Not all of us.
Don't do that.
No. We were not.
We were.
No, we were not.
We were. Don't do that.
It's okay to tell the children that most of us were.
We were kings and queens.
Not all of us.
Most of us. Don't do that.
I'm just saying. Let's be realistic. Let's be realistic.
Right. So Tamika says, I'm definitely explored dual citizenship, though, even prior to this. It's been on my mind, my life list. I just want my babies to have the most free existence they can have.
Exactly.
And I don't think here it is. And I
have no problems being an expat. So I have no problems being an expat.
You know, Tamika, I totally agree with you. The dual citizenship is not a bad thing. No, it's not a bad idea at all. Not.
It is a part of my plan.
Right.
It is a part of my life plan.
I'm looking, and then more of us than them.
She said, definitely not all of us.
Don't do that. Don't do that, y'all. I'm remembering those that were kings and queens. Oh, okay. Please.
Okay.
Can we stop?
Yeah. For those that were, you know.
Khadijah.
I'm going to do a bow.
Y'all better cut it out.
What Khadijah
She said it was some peasants, too.
Khadijah, would you That's the exact word I use. Peasants.
So
it's peasants. Peasants. I had this conversation yesterday. I was talking with somebody about kings and queens.
Let's get back to this.
Not all of us. Okay, go ahead.
Anyway, my point is
I mean, there's highs,
every lows of everything,
and everything.
Absolutely, right? But my point is that what happens is that no one teaches them that part. A lot of people think that Black history started with slavery. And there was, why are we not teaching them that there was a life before slavery?
That's ridiculous.
Right? It is true.
Right.
I literally asked my kids one day, and they said slavery. And I was like, whoa.
This country would have you believe that.
And how about they not having you believe there was slaves at all now?
Oh, well, now it's erased.
Now it's erased.
It didn't happen. We didn't do that.
Khadijah, shut up. She said it's evident daily in the current world. Okay, I get it.
Deej, keep going.
My point is, guys, we were kings and queens. Okay.
Not all.
So my thing is this. I do want them to know that there was an existence prior to slavery.
Yeah.
You had to come over and get us and bring us over here. And they even did that.
Come, sis, that's a conversation for a whole nother day.
What you mean?
Because I don't even want to talk. I don't even want to go into that, and I don't even want to talk about how we got on the boats in the first place.
How did we get on there, Chanel?
No.
Say what it is. People don't know
that we sold each other into slavery.
Okay,
we sold each other into
not
slavery.
only that, we sold each other into slavery.
Yeah. So
I just want you to know who provided the boats.
It didn't
as well.
Portuguese people.
Okay.
It didn't get until later on that they started to come and kidnap and steal. But before they were coming to kidnap and steal, we were voluntarily Africans were voluntarily giving us up to people.
Khadijah, I'm about to block you.
Now, do I believe that they knew that it would be indentured servitude to the magnitude that it was?
They did not.
No, they probably thought it was going to be like what they were doing.
I'm sure they sold them a dream
to those that were cast out of their villages and to those who were cast out of their society for whatever it is that they had done, right? So do I believe that they knew that it was going to be like this when they were sending?
Yeah, Wendy, y'all are not coming over here.
What'd they say?
Kings, Wendy said. Y'all are not coming over acting like that. Tamika, I'd also say a large part of it for me is investing in spaces that elevate and amplify the Black experience intentionally. School choice, extracurricular activities, museums, community groups, experiences. I agree. I will say, yes, you're absolutely right to that.
Can I say something else? And this is not going to be politically correct at all. And people, y'all going to get on me for this probably. So I was watching a documentary the other day because I watch a lot of documentaries on slavery, right? I was actually watching 2 last night. Anyway, I was watching a documentary on the last slave ship that went to South Carolina, which was a ship called Clotilda. And it was the last slave ship because at this point, slavery and the dropping off of slaves was illegal in like 1855-ish.
Okay.
And that's when the Clotilda came over and it docked in South Carolina. And so the last slaves that came over, what was the gentleman's name? They have images of him everywhere, the last slave that came over, and he documented his experience.
Mm-hmm.
However, he remembers being home, whatever part of Africa he was from, right? He remembers being home, and he documented it, and he wrote about it, and not Zora Neale Hurston. Who wrote about it? Was it Zora Neale Hurston?
Yeah.
Maybe it was Zora Neale Hurston had
I love her.
Wrote about Cudjo. His name is Cudjo. Had wrote about
very
Cudjo's,
controversial.
Yes, experience.
Mm-hmm.
So, Cudjo's descendants took that information and went back to Africa last year, right? To the village where Cudjo was from and the African tribe there that sold him into slavery, right? God. And so when they got there, it was 4 of them. When they got there, the king, who is now the king of the tribe, was laughing at them. I swear to God. Was laughing at them and was like, we didn't sell anyone into slavery. They voluntarily went to America to work. What are you talking about? So the denial of slavery and this servitude isn't just from the Caucasians here, but it's from a lot of the tribes there in Africa too. So
you got to remember. You got to remember you got to remember something. Everybody is not going to own up.
And that's what it was.
To what they did.
So as the king is laughing at these 4 Americans who were asking, why would you sell your own people into this indentured servitude so that they can get on the ships to go there? Mm-hmm. And the king was like, well, it's documented that we didn't do that. People went over there to work.
Yeah.
It wasn't until one of his descendants had begun to cry. It was a woman. She started crying. So she's in the middle of this tribal thing. There's a king. He got about 8 wives sitting in front of him. This is last year. He got about 8 wives sitting in front of him. And she started to cry for it because they were having a welcoming home ceremony for them. And she started to cry. And when she started to cry, some of the wives started to comfort her. And when they started to comfort her and the cameras were around, the person who was translating went to the king and told the king why she was crying. And she was crying because it felt like you were denying the story that Cudjoe told when he got there. Mm-hmm. He said he was sold into slavery. He said all of the stuff he had gone through on the ship. He said how he had survived. He remembered all of that.
He didn't voluntarily do anything.
He recanted everything. And no, he didn't voluntarily do anything. And she wanted to know why they were denying his descendants the pleasure of welcoming them in truth.
That's important.
So, right? And so when the camera started to catch all of this, he kind of changed his tune a bit. He never said we sold slaves into slavery. He didn't do that. He said, well, now is the time for us to get back together. That's what he said. Right? And so who was it, Tamika? Who was that? Tamika Stenbridge?
Yeah.
Tamika, who was it that said to be African American is to be African without connection, and to be American without placement or something like that.
I do remember that.
I need to get that quote right. But it's very, very, very
So Khadijah,
real.
yes. So is it possible they were tricked onto the boats? A lot of them. You gotta remember there is
but listen though.
Remember Susan Bartman, remember her body just returned within these last years. Remember, she was shapely.
Oh, Sarah
Bartman.
Mm-hmm.
She just returned. They just gave her body back home just recently.
Yeah, recently. Yeah.
So
a proper burial
and she
recently.
did not. This woman has syphilis and all that other type of stuff, but she was a. I think they wound up prostituting her. Really,
they did prostitute.
Yeah, they wound up prostituting her. Really.
Yeah.
But she was not told the truth of going over. So absolutely.
But she went to Europe first.
Right, she did. But the thing is, absolutely, Khadijah, were they tricked? Absolutely.
But
everybody
my point
thought
is
coming.
They weren't tricked until later in the years.
Yes.
So in
but what I'm saying is
400 years,
right.
in the 400-year time period that slavery existed, initially
some people got
it was Africans that were selling off those that were cast out from their villages and from their society.
That's true.
So they were sold into slavery first by their own people.
Absolutely.
That was first. Again, do I believe they knew what it was going to be like? Absolutely not.
No.
However, later on, you started having people who were tricked into getting on boats, and then you had people that were being stolen out of their villages.
What right? So let's talk about
and
that.
Put on boats.
So
but that came later.
So it did come later, and then you got to understand. And I was telling
James Baldwin, what is it? To be African American is to be African without any memory and American without any privilege. Thank you, cuz James Baldwin said
okay.
That. That's it.
So good. Love that man too.
Yes.
Very brilliant man.
Yes.
Oh, Tamika said it too.
Oh, thank you, Tamika.
Yeah, Tamika said it too.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
But the thing is that I want us to understand, and I know, I don't. I have a problem with the fact that we were robbed of our heritage. We were robbed of just existing. Our names were changed. I had to tell my children the history of the last names that we have. A lot of it has nothing to do with our lineage. It has everything to do with the slave owners that were had.
Everything.
Yeah, but they don't know that. They're kids.
Yeah. If you
they don't know that.
If you have a son at the end of your name, it's because you were the slave master's son.
Right.
Johnson, Jackson, Dawson, because Daw is Irish.
Right.
All of those, Robinson,
right.
Robertson.
Right.
It is literally Robert's
A lot of the
son.
children don't know
Robin's
that.
son.
So we got. I'm telling my kids, like, my last name at one point, not my biological last name, but my last name I acquired when I was adopted was Washington. So Washington, of course, come on, let's be real.
Where does that come from?
Where does that come from?
Yeah.
That is not anywhere near what our name would have been or is.
No. We don't know our name.
So we don't know. I think that there's a lot of times I remember, and I'm tell Katara Katara story really quickly. I remember my nephew, they asked him to do a paper on lineage. And right, hold up. So, being the mom, being the helicopter mom she actually wrote an email.
Yeah, because
she wrote an email they can go back, she was like telling them that it's kind of not for the African American kids, that's not right.
Don't do that.
It
You're
doesn't
not gonna have
fit.
my child in there and as far back as he knows slavery and that's
Katara could tell you this in the group, and she actually emailed and said, yeah, this is not appropriate, for my son, for the African American kids, and it's kind of insensitive.
It's very
insensitive because we can't travel back to that. As far I tell them all the time. It's funny. I told my children the other day. I said, everybody did not come from down south.
There is
a before down south. You'd be like, yeah, my grandfather came from Virginia. No, your grandfather landed in Virginia. Your grandfather landed in Dominican Republic. Your grandfather landed in Puerto Rico. It was not. Hence the reason why y'all got the same hair, okay, and the same skin tone. It's you just landed there with a different dialect and culture and different whatever. But slavery was everywhere. Mm-hmm. So my point is that yes. So Katara found it strange that you would even have these children do this type of assignment. And I can't remember what that. She could tell me what the outcome is. I couldn't remember what the outcome was.
Well, my child ain't doing it.
But she said that he's just not.
He's not doing it. How about
this assignment right
here? He'll do a Black History assignment,
right?
But he's not doing that.
So I thank God that I actually grew up the way I did. For one, like you said, we were taught. I remember having classes like the African American experience in college, and I remember having cultural diversity classes because I'm going to be honest with you. I grew up in South Plainfield, and before I came to Plainfield, I had a different sense of what being African American was, what being a Black woman, until I came back to Plainfield in my 10th, 11th, 12th grade years. I did not have the same experience because, I'm going to be honest, being in South Plainfield schools, I had computers that worked. I was not copying dittos. We had typewriters. We had certain privileges that being in that school afforded us, even though we were Black. Now, I'm not going to say that we had it all good and gravy, but what I'm saying is my experience at that time.
That's equity.
Right. My point.
That we didn't have.
My point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when I got back to Plainfield is when I literally found out with all of the diversity clubs that we had, the difference where we had, what was our African American teacher's name? Mr. Rob was the one that taught us what Black was in Plainfield, New Jersey, in America, in the time. Like there was just a lot of clubs that actually showed me what being Black was. And when I went to the school at Rutgers, when I went to school my freshman year, my sophomore year there, I joined some diversity clubs, and then it gave me more of a sense of who I am and what I was. And like you said, we watched the documentaries, we watch all the things. I'm eager to learn, and every year I uncover something else about us that is beauty and beautiful.
And I would still be an expat.
So, yeah, I'm really.
I would still be an expat. Right. I would still be an expat because honestly, do we claim this as a home because there is blood in the soil? But is it really?
Yeah.
We claim Africa is the motherland because that's where our people are from, but you have people there that still don't accept us either.
Yeah.
So I would still be an expat.
Right.
In a heartbeat.
Right.
I would still be an expat.
But I'd love to do the lineage thing to see how far back we go, to certain. I would love to do that.
Area. Can you pin at this point, because of all the mixing and all the, there were how many millions of slaves that came over here in those 400 years? Yeah. Millions.
Yeah.
There were millions of slaves that came over here in those 400 years. And then the years it took for us to get to by the time my parents got together, all of that mixing up.
But the problem that I have is that you would indenture us. You would do all of these things, and then you would create these ghettos, because that's what you did. You created ghettos, and you did certain things to block us from actually obtaining anything, right? We had different foods. We were not privy to some of the elite things.
And so I'm glad you said that, because that brings us right back to the top of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Do we not see that happening right now?
We do.
Okay.
So
when
it's reverting. I would never. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna be honest with you. There are certain conversations. I know what we went through as a people. I know what I've seen. I know the documentaries I've watched. I know the times when I've cried, when I didn't know, the whelps on our skins and the different things that we went through mentally and physically, right? I know all of those things. I know the revolts that we had. I know the wanting to get your papers to freedom. I know all of those things, right? But I never thought in 2025 that there are certain conversations that I would have to have, or certain feelings that I would have to revisit. And
now it's real.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Now it's real.
In 2025.
Yeah, now it's real. So what we learned about, and going to the African American Museum and watching all of the documentaries and the things we cried about, like, oh my God, how did my ancestors do it? Well, we about to find out.
Right.
Well, you about to find out.
Right.
At this point in time, it's we need to start having more conversations with our elders and take a part of take a part of it, and then figure out how we're going to deal with certain things. You started off by talking about the food and how expensive things are going to get. And with all of the tariffs and with all of the other countries that are surrounding us that aren't going to be doing anything for us anymore, and with, these workers over here being fired, those workers over there being fired, eggs being $10 million and this, that, or the other. We are going back to the time period where African Americans do what we do best, and we just make the best of things. So, okay, scrambled eggs, it may not be on your middle class worker or below, may not be on your table no more. So now you start creating other dishes that become a part of the culture, because this is what we can afford.
This is what we've done.
These are the
we've
scraps,
always did this.
These are the scraps that were left, and we're going to make the best of it. But it appears that that's where we're headed.
Yeah.
And so when I ask how people are doing, and when I ask how people are feeling and what you're thinking, this is what I'm talking about. Right? I'm not talking about necessarily what's going on over in Gaza, which is a political discussion that may or may not affect your household. I'm talking about, how are you feeling about what you're actually seeing in front of your face that can affect your household? The fact that you and you're in a heterosexual relationship, you and your man have been together 2-3 years, and you thinking about getting married, but thinking about maybe by the next time we vote for a president, I may not be able to vote as a woman because I have my husband's last name. Thinking about my friends who are lesbian or gay, who may not be able to marry their partner that they've been with for God knows how many years. Thinking about the fact that I have a friend that has 3 black sons that are stair steps in age, and guess what? There's now no federal funding going to HBCUs because that's considered DEI, and because that's being cut, the funding, the scholarships,
it
the grants
affects more so. You got to understand something. Again, I go back to what I originally said. The HBCU schools, and there are several on here. A lot of them who went to Morehouse and Morgan and Spelman, and Atlanta Clark and North Carolina A&T, and just all of those particular schools. What do we do then? What do our children do then? Because let me tell you something. The one thing I know about my little daughter, baby Dawn, I call her affectionately, but I call her Deuce. But my thing is, I know there is no way. Let me tell you something about that little girl. She is going to an HBCU. She does not play about, there is no question about her going to that school. That's where she wants to be. That's what she wants. Well, what do we do?
You got the lab coat on. Y'all gonna have your money up, so you're gonna be good. But for those that may,
because I'm still paying for my education.
Listen, me too. But for those that are going to need the grants and scholarships that these institutions are no longer going to be afforded, because they are cut.
We were damaging the school. I mean, the schools were, damn near not about to open or stay open now because we weren't getting funding before.
Now we're really not.
But
this is what I'm saying. How are you all feeling? How is everyone doing? These are the things
It's disheartening.
that can affect your future decisions.
Right.
Again, we were talking about folks who were going into getting certificates in diversity, equity, and inclusion, but now those 3 letters are cursed letters. To say DEI together is almost like a curse word now, right? So for those who were going into that from HR because you have a doctorate in HR and you wanted to get that certificate because it would have afforded you this opportunity or that opportunity, okay, now that's out. You got people like me, like I said, I work for a performing arts institution, and that man in office just took over a performing arts institution because he doesn't like the programming. What does that mean for the rest of us across the country? There's things like that. I feel like I'm holding my breath on a daily basis. I feel like I'm holding my breath and just waiting for what's next, because it's only been 34 days. So what else is coming? That's me personally, right? I have my mother, who is bedridden, that I'm a caregiver of, that everybody knows, who on a daily basis is telling me to stock up on food because we're about to have a food shortage. So now she's sitting at home watching the news all day, and then by the time I get in from work, it's, oh my God, Latoya, you got to get this, that, because there's going to be a food shortage, and we need stuff. We literally going into survival mode. And this affects me on a daily basis. This is not just a political conversation, and this is not just stuff outside of my household. This is the everyday. So my question is, how is everybody doing?
I just want to know, and just to everybody watching, I just want to know, what do I tell my daughter who wants to go to an HBCU student? Do I say, hold up, do I say don't go?
No, you can't say don't go. But
don't go?
You got to see, will they be in existence?
Right.
How many will be left in
existence?
Right,
will be left. Absolutely.
Yeah. How many will be left in existence?
But we have, this is the thing that I charge people to do. We donate money to a lot of things. We donate a lot of money to a lot of things. And a lot of things that don't make sense. But what I do know that makes sense is that historically black universities make sense. Right? I love the way.
I mean, especially when you are removing
African-American
education.
Yes.
From
when I have
to,
to,
it's banned
when I literally have to sit on the side of my bed and teach my children, there is no representation of them in their school. They literally, I'm like, guys, did they do anything for? They had one day of a culture event after school, right? One day of a culture event that don't teach them anything. They had food there, this, that, and the other, dance there, this, that, and the other, and that was it. That was one day, and it was after school program, which probably won't be next year. I'm gonna be honest with you, which probably won't be next year. But what do?
Scared.
Right. So my issue, my thing is that again, I just am baffled at what it's looking like right now.
Oh, it's bad, and it's a lot.
What it's
worse
looking
than
like
people,
right now.
than people are thinking.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, Tamika, you said to kind of put our heads down, and you told us to, concentrate on what we can control. And I'm gonna be honest with you, the depression and anxiety comes from everyone thinking I can't control nothing.
Yeah.
I can't control anything.
Yeah.
I don't have it in me to this fight. This fight is something I'm never going to win. Everybody says it's an uphill battle. It's not, because everybody's fit. Not saying it's not, but I'm saying they're feeling like it's not, because the world is changing every single moment. And what we knew and looked like, even America, what we knew America to be. It's funny that they say make America great again.
It's a third world country.
But it imagine that it's not make America great again.
We are in a third world country where freedom is about to be a thing of the past. We are literally fighting for democracy. We are in the United States of
Tamika, I
America
agree.
where we are fighting for democracy at this point. So
I'm gonna be honest with you. I really don't watch the news.
good luck.
I don't.
My passport is up to date.
I don't. Yeah, mine too. The thing about me is that I don't watch the news because I know there is a control factor that they have about what they put out, what social media, the stories. Yeah. So I really don't watch the news. A lot of times
you can't watch
the news because it heightens your depression, it heightens your anxiety, it heightens your sense of reality, right? A lot of people it just gives you delusion. So I don't do that. I do filter out certain things. I do school my children on certain things that's going on, and I make sure that they know, hey, this is what's going on right now. And I need them not to be oblivious because they're at an age where they cannot be oblivious about what's going on in the world. But I do not. I try to do the best I can. I do keep my head down. But I will say this: it is a scary world right now. Really? And like I said, with me having all these factors, right? With me having all these points, if you should say, if I add up the fact that I'm a woman, if I add up the fact that I am gay, if I add up the fact that I am black, if I add up the fact, that I am Muslim, if I add up, I'm just an abnormal entity, right? Defined in this realm
You're just
right
on
now.
The wrong side of right.
Right. So if I add up all of the things, I am married to a female, I don't know. There's so many things about me that makes up my total existence. And right now, I'm on the wrong side.
You're on the wrong side.
And all of these things, I told y'all from the beginning when it happened, this, whatever this is, it's not beneficial for me. It's not beneficial for me.
Beneficial for none of us.
Is all I'm saying.
All right, look, we are going to be talking about this some more in the coming weeks. Again, I'm going to have the ladies from Yoshida Academy whose
Tamika, you're right.
has been diversity, equity, and inclusion, and just get some updates from them on what they're seeing now in corporate culture and what it means for them as an institution. You guys know the ladies. There's
I want to say something really quickly.
Who were on the show the first half of last year. I'm going to have them back on as well.
Khadijah, the reason why it's not that I'm asking that the schools teach my children anything, because if you know me, you know that I am pro and I teach my children everything. The part is that when they go to school, they are learning about other cultures. They are learning about Greek, the goddesses and things like that. They are learning about that. My thing is, why can't my culture be implemented in what the school teaches? I'm not asking them to teach them for me, but what I am saying is, why can't my history be inclusive inside of the teaching? What they're learning about in history, the war of this and this, that, and the other, that doesn't, it's boring to them. That's not their life. They don't understand that part. I want them to know their history and why exactly are you now taking all of that outside of the schools and the programs that would have that.
Because it makes white people look
So
better.
that's the part. I don't want them teaching them anything, please, because if I leave it up to them, I promise you they'll teach them the wrong thing. But I just want them to be seen and heard and be taught what every other child is being taught.
Well, again, even what we were taught in school is being removed. The little bit that we were taught in school,
that's what I'm saying,
is now damn near outlawed.
Right.
Well,
So,
in Florida, you better not.
Tamika, you said it right. Rest, focus on your folks, be in community, have conversations like this,
Be a
so
community.
you don't feel alone.
Be a community. Let's start coming together more.
Thanks,
y'all.
Tamika.
Let's start coming together more.
You're right when you say our presence is resistance. I love that. And you're absolutely right. I got to screenshot that.
You know what else? Our rest is resistance, too.
Our rest
so
is
I'm about
too.
to go home and take a nap. Listen, or go to bed. It is, we are past 8 o'clock.
We love you guys.
Y'all
I just
know
want
I
to
be
say,
in bed, so.
I just want to say, please share this conversation. Please start this conversation with your children. Yeah, Khadijah, we did. I just what I want to say is that I want to give peace to everybody. I understand that it is right now we're in total unrest.
Yep.
But I want to say,
what I said, rest is resistance.
Right. I want to say,
that's from the NAP ministry.
I do want to say, continue to think positive, continue to pour into your community, continue to do things that do exemplify us and exalt us and lift us up. Mm-hmm. That's what I will say. That's all we can do.
All right.
That's all we can do.
Listen,
love you guys.
We love you guys.
I really
we love
do.
you. Love you guys for watching.
I
We
love
love you
you for
guys for
loving us.
listening. God
Thank you.
willing, we will be here next week, same time, same place, a different show.
Tamika,
but
thank
we
you
are
for
going to
everything.
discuss this topic.
Thank you, Shahira.
A bit more, and we'll be just checking in with you just to see how you're doing on this.
Love you, Meek.
This leg of our journey. But in the meantime, thank you guys so much. We'll see you
We
soon.
appreciate you guys so much.
Jeff, take us away. Take us away.
This was a great conversation. Totally good.